Hi guys, welcome to Office Blokes React. I am Office Bloke Dave.
I'm Office Bloke Mike.
Together we are two of the Office Blokes.
We are.
Office Bloke Daz is still recovering from his surgery.
Yeah.
No, we did the gender reassignment surgery for you.
Yeah, no doubt you did.
What was it? Did you get his nose made smaller? His nose isn't really a thing, is it? No. Gastric band. Yeah, the gastric band.
You know.
I'm on to talk. Anyway, Office Bloke Daz is at the tail end of having COVID, so we're recording it on a Friday. It wasn't worth risking him for a couple of videos, so we're going to crack on as normal on Monday.
Yep.
Let him have a couple more days to recover.
Absolutely. Firing.
Fit
and firing,
just
I should say. Just firing.
Yeah, just firing.
Fit and firing. Ready to go Monday, definitely.
Right then, why are rappers scared of Snoop Dogg?
I didn't know they were, to be honest.
He's definitely like...
I mean, he seems a bit of a character, should we say.
Of the gangster rappers, though,
yeah.
if you think about the scene, because he came up with like Tupac and people like that.
Of course, yeah, he's been going a long, long time, hasn't he?
So
he's clearly, yeah, he'll have a lot of connections, I would guess.
Yeah.
You know, without a doubt.
There's an interview, I know it's a bit of a sidetrack, but with 50 Cent, where someone interviews him talking about the person that shot him.
Yeah.
And the person that shot him died shortly after. And they were asking him about it, and he was like, don't know.
What was he?
Yeah, and it's like, so I think they're insinuating he had something to do with it, and he's like, absolutely nothing to do with it. I mean,
yeah,
it kind of insinuates that people he is friends with had something to do with it.
Yeah, no.
And it's one of them where you're like...
I think people can fill in the blanks, really, can't they, in situations like that.
It's hard to describe without watching the actual interview. But like, it's easy to forget that these guys, literally, a lot of them came from the streets, selling drugs, carrying guns.
Proper bad boys, aren't they? They're not sort of like wannabes that, you know, pretend to be gangster and stuff like that. I mean, they're serious players, aren't they, a lot of these guys? I think
a lot of the younger rappers seem to try and live that life nowadays, though, and like they're having a...
But they've not been through what these guys have been through.
Well, I think they make it to like 2021 and then they get shot, and then that's it for them. And it was like, how often do you hear of promising rap career and someone having a couple of good singles out and then that being it for them? It's quite a common thing.
Yeah.
Let's get into it though. Let's find out why rappers are really scared of Snoop Dogg.
Yeah.
When it comes to the rap game, there aren't many OGs left. Whether they've been taken too soon in industry-defining violence or lost themselves in drug and alcohol-induced benders. It goes without saying that it's not easy to stay relevant and real. But one rapper has found himself solidly in this category among the likes of Tupac Shakur and Notorious B.I.G. Snoop Dogg, the lyricist from Long Beach, California, has more hit songs than any other OG still kicking it. But how does someone like Snoop retain his relevance though, and ensure that he hasn't been wiped from the face of the earth just yet? Well, as it turns out, the D.O.G. is actually one of the most feared rap artists around, and for more than a few reasons. So stick around to find out why rappers are really scared of Snoop Dogg.
I think he owns Death Row Records nowadays.
Oh, does he?
I think so.
Yeah.
You're going to have to correct me if I'm wrong about that, but I'm fairly certain he like purchased it in recent years. He's just signed Ed Sheeran.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't read the article, but it says Ed Sheeran signs to Snoop Dogg's label. And it showed Ed Sheeran having this big gold chain put around his neck. I like that. I think that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely brilliant.
He actually... he grew up rapping as well as singing, Ed Sheeran.
Oh, did he?
Yeah, and he's got an EP with Yellow Wolf, the rapper. Okay. Like, we've reacted to Yellow Wolf.
Yellow Wolf, didn't we? Yeah, that's right.
Him and Ed, it went under the radar, but him and Ed Sheeran literally did an EP together. It's pretty good as well.
I've not heard that. I have to hear that.
You'd think with Ed Sheeran being one of the biggest guys on the planet, that'd be everywhere, but it's just, the whole thing's on YouTube.
Right, okay. It's definitely gone under my radar anyway.
It's worth a go. Yeah. It's worth a listen.
You should interact with us. Subscribe and hit the notification button to be notified when we upload more content. Don't forget to leave a like and comment below. Also, feel free to suggest any type of videos you would like to see on this channel. Thanks. Let's start with Snoop's criminal record. Snoop is unlike any other rapper in the industry. Although he came up from the streets, he actually had a loving mother and stepfather right there next to him, who tried their best to keep him on the straight and narrow. As such, the legendary icon only fell into the wrong crowd when he was 19, resulting in his first ever arrest. This was in respect of a felony drug possession charge, as well as another for holding with the intention of selling. Since the drug in question was cocaine and the word on the street was that Snoop was a low-level member of the Rollin' Crips, it wasn't difficult to find a judge who would convict him. But this wasn't the last time that Snoop would find a name for himself in the Californian courtroom. In fact, drug possession with the intention to sell was nothing compared to what he was accused of 3 years later. You see, although he was essentially acquitted of the charge, Snoop found himself in the midst of a pretty intense murder trial. This was the resultant of a bout of gang violence that Snoop was involved in back in 1993, which saw him being slapped with a first-degree murder charge. According to reports, he was driving a Jeep at the time with his bodyguard and longtime friend McKinley Lee, otherwise known as Malik. And when he finally arrived at his apartment complex, he was shocked to see a group of rival gang members sitting there waiting for him. And it didn't help that these were the same gangbangers that he and Malik had recently beefed with, led by the infamous Philip Wonder Merriam, better known as Little Smooth. Rather than avoiding confrontation, Snoop sped up to the group, who were apparently enjoying some Mexican food, and started to cuss them out for being in the wrong place at the wrong time. Suffice to say, things escalated quickly when Malik stood up to the topless Jeep and pulled his pistol out for all to see. Before Little Smooth was able to react, the pistol went off, causing the rival gang member to fall lifeless to the ground. Being only 21 years old at the time, Snoop decided to slam his foot down on the accelerator, speed away from the incident, and regretfully not calling the cops. The trial was a long one, and it looked bad that Little Smooth was not found packing at the time, but as it turns out, one of his friends had actually hidden his weapon from the police, showing that there had always been an intention to start things. Luckily for Snoop, this was the nail in the coffin needed to secure the withdrawal of the charges that had been set against him, with Malik being the one who had actually pulled the trigger. But the rest of the Rollin' Crips knew that Malik didn't do anything without the direction of Snoop, who had clearly asked him to react with the violence that he did. This was far from the last time that Snoop was involved with the law, though. In fact, in both 1990
That's crazy, isn't it?
Yeah.
I heard that he was indicted for murder charges at one point.
Yeah.
I've heard other rappers talk about it. But that's... he got very lucky that a gun was found.
Very much so, yeah. Wonder what happened to his bodyguard then? Is that Malik?
I think it seems like the case was dropped.
What, completely? Oh, because they were...
Because
they could say that it was self-defense sort of thing.
Yeah, because a rival gang going with a weapon to his apartment.
It's likely that they were going to
self-defense,
shoot them first, sort of thing.
Preemptive self-defense, maybe.
Yeah. Right. Okay.
I don't know.
I'm sure people will know out there, won't we, to set us straight on that one. But
yeah, I've heard when people like say the word gangster loads, and then like you see Snoop Dogg's reaction to people calling themselves gangsters.
Yeah, I can imagine.
And he's like, you don't need to say that.
Nothing.
Yeah, you don't know what you're talking about.
1994 and 1995, he fought another set of charges in connection with an attempted murder case, showing that he hadn't calmed down since the 1993 murder charge. He also pleaded guilty to assault charges in 1997, but escaped liability by promising to use his platform to speak against violence. For doing so, he got off scot-free with just 3 years of probation. 2002 was then a big year for Snoop. It looked like he had turned over a new leaf by indicating to his fans that he had given up both drugs and women. But this didn't stop things from getting a bit hairy the next year when he was implicated in a civil case. That being said, Snoop quickly countersued the plaintiff for extortion, causing the both of them to drop their cases and carry on as if nothing had happened. Snoop also has a history of being banned from airports after having a string of misunderstandings take place. He was banned from flying on British Airways after he and his entourage started a fight and used a disturbing amount of threatening language whilst on the scene. He was also detained in John Wayne Airport in 2006 for carrying a collapsible police baton in his bag. Just a few months later in October, he was arrested in Bob Hope Airport in Burbank for being in possession of both marijuana and a firearm, a situation which didn't stop him from doing the same in November after performing on The Tonight Show. Suffice to say, Snoop has always been ready for a fight with some form of weapon on him, and the fact of the matter is that he isn't at all scared to elevate things to the level of intense violence. So it's really no wonder that other rappers avoid beefing with the OG, as this would probably be the last thing they would ever do, literally. Snoop has more success than any other OG on the scene, but it's really more than that. As much as people fear him for what he has done and continues to do, rappers tend to take a wide berth from the OG because of how successful he is. Not only does he have a lucrative music career, he has also made a name for himself by doing voice work for mainstream video games like Call of Duty, created an Olympics commentary alongside Kevin Hart, which hit new degrees of virality, opened the number of podcasts as high as a kite, and has gone on to cameo in some of the greatest movies of all time. Suffice to say, Snoop is an absolute legend of the industry, and it goes without saying that his fan base would do anything to make him happy. From speaking out against celebrities he has beefed with to intentionally attempting to cancel them in an effort to bring an end to the beef, and to a certain extent a social media death, is a lot more damning to celebrities and influencers alike than the threat of physical violence. You can recover from a physical attack after all, but in some instances a cancellation can cause you to lose your livelihood. The D.O.G. might be a tad unhinged. That being said, Snoop has calmed down in recent years, even admitting to the fact that he regrets being so misogynistic when he was younger. He even squashed a beef that had been brewing between him and Eminem when he refused to acknowledge the white rapper as being one of the top 10 lyricists in the world, claiming that it was the fact that he was with Dr. Dre that got him the place on the list. But not all beefs and bouts of misogyny have come to an end. Back in 2014, for example, he went on to post a picture of an albino homeless woman with cornrows, captioning it Iggy Azalea, no makeup. And while the rest of the world was rolling on the floor laughing, the Australian fancy singer was not about to take the jab lying down. She hit back at Snoop on Twitter, calling him two-faced. In her own words, "Every time I've ever spoken to you, you've always been nice as hell. I'm disappointed you'd be such an ass for no reason." And while everything seemed to be over, Snoop came back for a vengeance in an offensive video in which he said the following to Iggy: "Say you're with the wrong N-word, and your N-word better check you before I do you funky yeah, you Suffice to say, the public saw a different side of Snoop that day.
Do I fill those words in, Dave?
Nope, I absolutely do not. I'm staying well out of it.
Oh man, he's a bit of a character, isn't he, old Snoop, I must admit.
Yeah.
Some of the other things he's done has been quite funny, like that Olympics thing that we reacted to.
He is like...
But obviously he's got a bit of an edge to him as well, hasn't he? He always seems really likeable. He comes across as like quite a likeable...
He does.
Affable sort of like person, doesn't he? He really does.
Yeah.
He don't come across as like mean and sort of like, you know, moody and sort of like...
Yeah, I think it's because he smokes weed all day, every day.
Could have something to do with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, no, he does seem like...
to it.
He seems like if you met him, he'd actually be quite a cool guy.
Yeah, that's
like
what he comes across as. I mean, a lot of people probably say, you know, he's actually really badass and, you know, he's...
I'm sure he is.
Like that, but that's how he comes across anyway.
But, like, not that I know, but the real people are the ones that don't go on about it, aren't they?
Yeah.
Like, he's nice to people, seems like he's got a good reputation, but behind the scenes, you can tell without a doubt he can still get stuff done if he wants.
I think so,
Yeah.
Definitely, yeah.
It seemed as if the rapper was going through a midlife crisis, but there's nothing more dangerous than a man unhinged. But what do you think about the reasons for him being feared? Is it a combination of them all that strike fear into the hearts of rappers? Or is there one in particular that caught your attention? Feel free to let us know in the comments section down below. That's the end of today's video. If you enjoyed the video, hit the like button.
That was good.
It was very good, that. I didn't realise he'd had a bit of a beef with Eminem in the early days.
I didn't either, actually.
So he did work quite a bit with Dr. Dre, didn't he?
Yeah.
Eminem, especially earlier on, I think.
Yeah.
I guess.
Yeah. I think it was Dr. Dre that kind of found Eminem,
that's right.
and kind of like produced him and took him to that level.
I don't think there's any debate now that he's right up there, Eminem, isn't he?
Well,
he's got to be up there with the best, surely.
If you want sort of hip-hop news, views and opinions, you definitely come to me and Mike. So what we say is hugely relevant in the scene.
Of course.
Yeah. So anyway, I think I like Snoop. He makes, not only does he make good music, he seems to be the guy he talks about.
I think so,
Which I think authenticity goes a hell of a long way nowadays.
I mean, rapping-wise, I've said before, absolutely totally unique. When you hear him rapping, you know it's him.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely straight away. Some others are a bit generic and a bit, not sure who it is, but, you know, with Snoop Dogg, he's just got absolute unique delivery and
Yeah, I think Snoop
Tone
Dogg,
to his voice and everything.
Snoop Dogg and Cypress Hill have both got kind of voices and styles that are unmistakably, you hear one word and you know exactly who it is that's saying it.
Absolutely.
But yeah, love a bit of Snoop.
But yeah, he's good.
Yeah, nice one, right? Hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget like and subscribe and all that good stuff, and we will see you again soon. Cheers.